parts, the jury has found you guilty of manslaughter with a firearm. Jury to be held. Discuss the very thank you. Okay. Thank you. We love you. Yes, ma'am.
Dum-dum-dum. Good evening, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Okay. So, as we know, good evening, everyone. This is for the SACAI learners. And good evening, Anna. I'm here for you guys the next, let's say, half an hour, 45 minutes. Let me know what your questions are, what you may be concerned about for tomorrow. Have you been doing enough prep? Have you been checking through things? Because I'm gonna hit you with different questions tonight. Okay, just randomly. Let's see how prepared you are. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm going to start, and this is just going to be random. I'm going to hit you with, it's about 4 or 5 questions per section. Okay, and then if there's something you don't understand, again, this is for you. You asked for this. I am here. YouTube this side, TikTok that side, but it's all for you. And I wish you guys all of the best for tomorrow. All of the best for tomorrow. So let's start off with system technologies. Now, inside system technologies, we have computer management, concepts of computing, hardware, and software as well. So let's just say we're going to take like 3 questions from each so we can get through the entire thing. I haven't seen XLOOKUP. Honestly, in what I've seen so far, it's been scarce. So I haven't seen it. Okay. So, so remember, looking at theory, because I think that's what, the SACAI learners write in theory tomorrow. What? Did it come in yours? I didn't see anything on the side. I must say the IEB one was a very nice one. All the prep work helped. Sure. All that prep work helped. Okay, so system technologies, computer management, got a little program here from a good friend, and I'm going to be sharing this way, especially the grade 10s and 11s can actually go and get hold of that. Yes, no. Cesonele, that's theory tonight. That's theory tonight. Yeah, Ume, when are you writing prac? Okay, so I'm gonna give you a couple of questions, guys, so you can get the idea of what system technologies you look at. Okay, so Ume, here's my tip. Here's just a big tip. Go and check through that video series I did, right? Covering last year's paper. At the end of that video series, there is a link to last year's series I did, which takes you through the 2023 paper. Then, in the data files inside of that video, in the description, there's a link to the data files that has the 2025 IEB supplementary paper. Go and do that. With that, you are sorted for tomorrow. You are sorted for tomorrow. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to get hold of this. What do I have to look more into when it comes to system technology? So I just want to randomize, try to get a couple of questions here. So with system technologies, things like hardware, software, defining the term file system, right? Looking at what a GUI is, giving perhaps an example of a GUI. right? I mean, Windows is an example of a GUI. Linux has a GUI. What is a GUI? Remember, that is a graphical user interface. So anything where I am interacting with the use of menus, icons, things like that would be fine. How would one approach a theory question like how to study well? Type it out in the comments. Currently in a place here. Okay, don't worry. I think I'll turn captions on, I think after the video is done. Yes, it will be available. So any video I do when I go live, it will be available on the YouTube channel. It sits there under the recording. So no problem. No problem. So typical questions that can come up, like I said to you, what is the GUI? Give an example of a GUI. What is a file system? Right? How do you define a file system? These are questions under computer management in system technology. So you'll get things like your operating system, the functions of the operating system. Those are things that sometimes come up. If I go to concepts of computing, let's have a look at some more here. The age-old one, the difference between RAM and ROM. Remember, RAM, temporary storage area. Instructions are loaded there as programs are opening and closing, but it's volatile. ROM, not so. ROM is important because it's got permanent instructions when the PC boots up. So just know those differences. Things like convergence, okay? And when I went through, I was going through the SAGs guidelines and things like that. There's like a lot of what you're doing for theory tomorrow comes from grade 10 work. So if you've still got your grade 10 textbook and things like that, or you want to go, I think I just uploaded a DBE section A theory video. So I've been trying to record in the background, but sure, I'm running out of time. So go and have a look at that video. In that video, I've got the playlists to the different theory modules and the summaries I've done. So go through that. It's going to help you because when I look at some of these questions that I'm just randomly generating here, grade 10 work is going to help you, right? So here's another one. Let's go to hardware. So hardware is usually simple. And guys, for tomorrow, please do yourself a favor. Spend some time going online to see what hardware components look like. The power supply is one that comes up often. Wireless headsets, gaming headsets, graphics cards, RAM, ROM, motherboards. Those are all components that come up and that can be asked. What would you advise me to do if I only have a few hours left till I write and haven't studied? Okay. Now, not to sound biased, because it's going to sound like that. The video I just released, the DBE section A. Go watch that. Then in that, there is a link to 3 playlists. Grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, like summarizing everything you've done. You can go and have a look through those videos. Okay. What you can also do is, this is all under the final push, the theory edition. There is a theory edition. Go through those videos and you will be fine. Like if you haven't studied, the theory edition of the final push on the channel, guys, sorted. And go to gizmo.ai and go search my deck. In the description of all my videos, I've got the gizmo.ai flashcards. So it's all the theory content in flashcards for grade 10, 11, and 12. You can go and have a look at it. You can create a quiz around it, all of these things. So everything in one place. Like you go to one video, all the links are there, everything you need. If you haven't studied, that will sort you out. Okay, so let's look at hardware. They can ask you things like the information processing cycle. What's the first step? I know with theory, a question that always comes up is the IPO question, the information processing output question. So they give you a scenario when they ask you, how does information processing and output, how do these things work according to this? So if I give you a typical example, you get a number that you need to save on your phone. So what are you doing? Input is where you are typing it into your phone. Processing is where the phone is looking through to see, has it actually got this number? And then the output is when you save it, and now you've got the result. The result of processing, remember, is output. So yeah, you want to do that. I'm looking at some other questions here. Why would a computer start up very slowly? One possible reason for a slow computer startup, that could be things like there's too many programs that are actually having to run once you log in. A disadvantage of voice recognition. Now, obviously, if you slur in a bit or you're not speaking properly or clearly, that can be a problem. Okay. Then, age-old one, SSD versus HDD. Your solid-state drive versus your traditional hard drive. That one comes up all the time. And please don't use terms like, don't use terms like faster, slower. No, you need to say why it's faster. The SSD has got faster read access. The SSD uses less electricity when compared to the traditional hard drive. That's how you need to answer it. Okay, Soph9865 says, sir, you are so helpful. The prac paper went so well. Yes, man. That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear. And if your prac paper went well, tell us. Share it with everyone here so we know. Folks, people want to hear that the channel is doing great things for all of you. It's here to help. Okay, so that I'm going to go over to software. So those are the typical things. Obviously, okay, I'll get to that one now. Okay, I'll get to that one now. So, what does I say now? Yeah, okay, let me get to that. Windows utility. So remember, your utility programs are programs that are built into the operating system. It comes with Windows. So things like disk cleanup, disk defragmentation, right? These are all programs that are built into Windows. Those are your utility programs. Okay, under software. Okay, what is meant by flawed software? This is a question that has come up before. Now, when we talk about software, we're talking about a program. And if the program is flawed, it means that there's some sort of bug in that program. What does that mean? That means that the program itself has a problem. Okay, so if a program has a problem and that affects a business, that can lead to downtime. Okay, and that can affect the running of the business if the software is actually flawed. Okay, if you want prac papers, again, go to any one of my newest videos. Go check for the link that says the final push files. Go there. There are IEB, DBE, and the latest 2025 supplementary paper for IEB, guys. It's all there. It's all there. Education with Mr. Hambury. That's the YouTube channel. That's where you want to go to. That's where you want to subscribe. Right. NFC, near field communication. So, with our bank cards, right? We just tap or we get our phone and we keep it near the device. So what happens is near field communication, that is where two devices are communicating and they just need to be near one another. It's the tech, you need to start with, it's the technology that allows you to do any sort of transaction without physically touching. You are just bringing it near that device. All right. Here's another one. When it comes to the specs, I think of system technologies, yeah, you'll get the specs of the PC. Okay. So please remember with the specs of the PC, you can have a whole list of specs, and there's usually about somewhere between 30 to 40 marks worth of questions based on that. Things like what's the speed of the CPU? How is it measured? What's the size of the screen? And this is what they usually ask you, what's the size of the primary memory or the primary storage? What's the size of the secondary storage? If I had to ask you that, guys, what's the difference? What's the difference between primary storage and secondary storage? Which one is which? Which one is which? Let's go to internet technologies. Okay, now there's obviously a whole section on the internet as well. So you need to go through obviously what the internet is, how it works in terms of things like bandwidth, which is the amount of data that can actually pass over the internet at a given time. Things like what a router is, what a wireless, I just looked through a paper today, a wireless access point. What does that do? How does it function? What's the advantage of me connecting to a network wirelessly versus connecting with a cable, wired? And then remember, there are two main types of, well, three cables we're going to talk about. The one is fiber optic. And remember your fiber optic cable, very fast. Why? Because it's transmitting data via light. That is the main thing. Thin cable, brittle cable, that's why it's usually buried underground and transmits very, very fast. The other two cables we usually talk about are UTP and STP cables. So your UTP cable, that's your unshielded twisted pair. And then your STP is your shielded twisted pair. Shielded from what? Shielded from any sort of electronic interference. Okay. So let me hear from you because I'm talking too much now. Right, here's one for you. State two features of modern web browsers that help improve the user's online experience. Question again. State the two features of modern web browsers that help improve users' online experience. Well, some of the limitations of NFC, there could be something wrong with your card. There could be something wrong with the device. A limitation is that criminals can also make use of that to, come near if they see you've got your bank card with you and things like that. A disadvantage is that it doesn't ask for a PIN. Okay. Obviously, depending on your settings. So, difference between something like Chrome and Google. So, Google Chrome and Google is a search engine. Google Chrome is a web browser. That's a piece of software that allows you to search through the internet. What am I seeing here? Maths is a game, Mr. Hambury, the cat goat. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. So you haven't given me an answer. I'm still waiting. Two features of modern web browsers. What about things like tabbed browsing? What about the fact that you can do bookmarks and favorites and that infamous history tab? Okay. Those are all features of modern web browsers that just makes life a little easier when you browse. Okay. Then don't forget your browser extensions like ad blockers, spam filters, things like that you can add there as well. Let's get some different ones. Let's go to internet technologies. Okay, so here's a question, another one, because I see the TikTok guys are more active than YouTube. Identify one device used for mobile internet access. One device used for mobile internet access. Mbali, I'm trying to move through just having a few questions from all the different areas. So I'm trying just to touch on a lot of things as we go through. All this video, okay, yes, it will. Kaylee, evening, sir. Can sir do another live for us DBE learners? Yes, this was just requested by the SACAI learners for tomorrow. So that is no problem. I will do one for DBE. I will do one for IEB. And then just like I did for you, SACAI learners, because some of the others don't realize this. I think I did send out a link with a document that I prepared for you, like an exam guidelines with a 5-day or 3 or 4-day plan, something like that. I'm going to be doing the same for the DBE learners. I'm going to be doing the same for the IB learners and for the grade 10s and 11s as well. Shaman, we can't leave them out. You were once there. You were once there. All right. Okay, so the first thing we just need to know is the BIOS. The BIOS stands for Basic Input Output System. So this is what we call firmware, and this is built into the motherboard, right? So that's the first thing. They might not ask you. I don't know. I haven't really seen a question where they've asked you to actually expand the acronym. Actually, just want to. Okay, I can't get a picture on that side. Yeah, so your BIOS is firmware that really just initializes or starts up all your hardware. This is why when you go into those settings, you can deal with, how the ports are working, disabling a USB port, activating this hard drive, making sure the PC boots from one hard drive and not the other, things like that. So that's the main purpose of that. Okay. Right. I still don't have an answer. Hey, you guys don't like answering questions, but you like asking. Okay. What's the difference between uploading and downloading? What's the difference between uploading and downloading? Because we're now under internet technologies. And you think some of these questions are like, it's just sort of low-level questions. Wait until it finds you in a scenario. So when we're uploading, what are we doing? We are sending data to the internet, right? We are sending that to the internet. When we are downloading, we are receiving data from the internet. Simple. PHP, no, not that I'm aware of. Expand on that a little bit. Okay, then what is the difference between shaping, when we're talking about the internet now, shaping and throttling? Shaping and throttling. Because you've all got internet at home. I mean, that's why you're here. So when a line is shaped and when a line is throttled, what does that mean? So, okay, let's see if anyone comes up with that. And while you're thinking about that, I'll go to the next. Let's go. Social implications. Social implications is usually a good one. And let's go with health and ergonomic issues. Nothing. Okay, there we go. Okay, so remember, when an internet service provider throttles you, they are slowing down the entire connection. So whether it's uploading and downloading, they are literally throttling you. So they're cutting the entire connection. All right. However, shaping, what they do is maybe at busy times, say between like 5 and 8 o'clock in the evening, what they will do is they will prioritize certain data. So they'll say, well, during that peak time, Downloads, we're going to give you less speed and we're going to give you more speed for browsing. We might give you more speed to watch YouTube and less speed to, I don't know, download music or things like that. But that's shaping. They'll shape what can actually come through on that line. Okay, so that's your shaping and throttling. Okay, here's another one. We're talking about ergonomics. Why is lighting important in a computer workspace? Simple question. Why is lighting important in a computer workspace? Why? Because that poor lighting, we can have glare coming from the screen, and what can that lead to? Eye fatigue, right? Remember, a whole thing about ergonomics, and then you're throwing in RSI as well, is doing the same thing over and over, and you're sitting for hours there. Do you think if you're working in a dark environment and you've just got the light of the screen, like when you're busy with your phone for hours on end in the dark when you're supposed to be sleeping, when you're dealing with that, do you feel fatigued with your eyes after a while? Yes, you do. And I'm sure a lot of you have had that experience where you're doing that, and then the next thing you feel yourself going, and then you lose grip of the phone in your hand, and it's like slap into your face. Okay. What else? Oh, here's another one. Name one environmental factor that affects computer users' health. One environmental factor that affects a computer user's health. And you'd be surprised. The one is poor lighting, and the other one we can say is ventilation. We need good ventilation. Like I know most computer labs, like mine, also a lot of windows, but it's closed and you've got the aircon on. But when you've got a lot of people in the lab, you need to get some fresh air from outside. So those are just some basics there. All right. Let's see what else we can do. And let's go to network technologies. Yeah, there's a few things on networks. I want to see what they've come up with here. I'm going to randomize 10 questions there just to see. Okay, P3, hello. Hi there. Okay, so here's one. What device is essential for connecting a LAN to a WAN? What device is essential for connecting a LAN to a WAN? How are we going to connect the two? Because essentially, what are we doing? We are connecting two networks. So remember, the internet is a network. So when you have this device at home, this device allows you to connect from your home network to a worldwide or global area network. So your home area network, how do you connect to the internet? With a router. And that router allows your home network to connect to the global network known as the internet. So if they ask you something like that, it's still a router. Then also know the difference between the internet and the intranet. Remember, the intranet is a internet-like environment that is confined to one organization, and only the people in that organization can have access to it. Now, it's very nice because you can share all your information. The company can share all its, documents and information and things like that, and you can have that time. But obviously, the disadvantage is no one from the outside can access it. If you're at home, you'll need like a special VPN or something like that to be able to access it. So, yeah, those are some of the things. A switch now inside the network. When we are connecting different, let's say different classrooms, different network, what we call segments, then we have a switch involved. So if we've got 3 classrooms that are computer labs and we need to connect them to one another and then from there to the server, we use switches in those rooms. They connect those segments together, and then you are able to connect to the server. Now, I remember doing that when I worked out as a network engineer. That was interesting. You meet a lot of interesting people. You see a lot of things that, yeah, sometimes you shouldn't see. But anyway, I'm just so glad to have all of you here. You are here. You are asking questions. Please, this is what we are doing. This is why we are here. Okay, you asked for this. So we've got about 15 minutes or so left. Please, if there's any questions, do ask. I'll just shoot some random ones at you as well. Let's get to the more difficult ones. So here's one. Discuss. Okay, sorry. Let me just, while I'm seeing these terms, and I'm not sure if I included it in the SACAI document, but in the exam guidelines document I'm going to be sending out for DBE and IEB, I've included a list of terms. So things like explain, evaluate, describe, discuss. And I've just very, very simply, on a basic level, broken it down for you to show you, look here, when they ask for discuss, this is what they want. When they ask for evaluate, this is what they want, right? So all of those things I've put in that document, right? So discuss one ethical issue related to bandwidth shaping by ISPs. What is an ethical issue? I mean, you even think about that. Is there an ethical issue? But there is one ethical issue related to bandwidth shaping by ISPs. Remember what we said? What shaping is? That is where they prioritize certain data over others at a particular time. Now, they may prioritize, you can use an answer like this, they may prioritize certain services unfairly. Right? Because remember, you don't get to decide. They get to decide. So, yeah, some of you might be okay with that. Others might be like, no, man, why are they cutting this now? Okay, I've got 2 here. Okay, so malware. I've got Soph with malware. I've got Catherine here and Faith. Okay, so let me deal with that. What is malware? Malware is malicious software. Okay, harmful software. So that's the overarching theme. Then within that, you've got a couple of examples, like a Trojan. A Trojan is there to do what? It looks like something useful, but it actually ends up causing harm. You have worms, which are basically viruses which are just replicating themselves through the network. So it gets into the network and it just creates more and more and more and more, and that clogs the network, slows it down, harms it. You've got spyware. Spyware is programs that are working in the background, monitoring everything you are doing. They don't harm anything, but they just keep in record of all of that, and they send it off to whoever, installed that program, however it got installed there. You've got keyloggers. So keyloggers monitor and record all your keystrokes. Right? So those are just some of the things there. Mohammed, paper 1 for tomorrow. Go to the YouTube channel, Education with Mr. Hambury. Go check out the final Push 2025. That whole playlist will get you sorted out for the prac. Everything is there. The videos in the description. There are links to the data files, playlists, the whole works. Everything is there for you. No problem. No problem. Yeah, we learn, we grow, we excel. Right. Faith, let's see. Can you please explain topologies to me? Okay, I do have a video on the channel about topologies. You can go and have a look at that. But when we talk about a network topology, we're talking about how the data and how the communication is going to occur in a network. So, for example, they will mention the star topology. That means that you'll have a central point And then all the other clients or computers are connected to that central one. So your central one will be the server, and the clients are all connecting to that. Even though they show you that in a star picture, it's not laid out like that, right? So that's just how the data flow and the communication is done. And I would advise, go check out, I did a particular video where I was doing revision on with the grade 12s, and I included that. So go to the channel, go have a look at that video. That will sort you out. That will sort you out. And Catherine, so if we understand the terms, we'll be fine because we are writing Wednesday and I'm stressed. Don't stress. Don't stress. Folks, I know it's easy for me to say that, right? But with the prac, it's been proven. I've done this year after year, and it's helped hundreds and hundreds of learners through this. So for the prac papers, those who are still writing prac, you go to the Education with Mr. Hambury YouTube channel. You go through the Final Push 2025, all the prac videos, everything, last 2-3 years worth of papers, the data files, everything is there. When it comes to the theory, the Final Push Theory Edition is there as well. So I go through the old IEB paper of last year, year before last, because I'm still doing last year's one now, the DBE one. There's playlists covering all this. And then, like I said, there's a link in the description to flashcards, right? Flashcards with all the terminology. Everything is there. Go there. Those flashcards can be turned into a quiz. You can quiz yourself on that. I've tried to do everything I possibly can to help you there. So everything is there. Catherine, take it easy. You'll be okay. You'll be just fine. Go check out those videos. Take it one at a time. Once you've watched one, make a few notes, take a break. You can go back and start the process again. Okay? Don't stress yourself out, because what's going to happen is you're going to go into the exam and then you're going to be so stressed that whatever you've learned, you're going to forget anyway. Okay? So just take it easy. With the KK, how do I go about it? Okay, with the integrated scenarios. Now, this is interesting because the integrated scenarios, I mean, they pull out everything. So with that, look at the basics. Just focus on that scenario. What is that scenario talking about? Try and figure out that whole scenario first before you answer the questions. Because inevitably what's going to happen is the one's going to build on the other. So I'll give you a scenario, like in the school hall, there is a video conference that needs to be set up. There's a visiting speaker that's going to be joining us online. There's 100 guests that are going to be there. And then they build a scenario. Like that's your scenario, and they start building questions on that. So honestly, having gone through the SAGs again today, I would advise, you don't have to go and watch everything, but just sort of scheme through all those playlists from grade 10 all the way through. My prac went so good last week, Friday, and I watched all the Final Push videos and did the papers by myself. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There, Faith is telling everyone, guys, it really helps. This is what it's there for, man. This is what it's there for. I love this. Jasmine, let's not go overkill with the amount of papers. So I typically say 2 years. 2 years back. And if you can get hold of a supplementary paper now, that as well. So for example, if you were the DBE, you want to go through DBE 2024, DBE 2023, and the 2025 supplementary paper. IEB, same story. That should be enough. That really should be enough for you in terms of past papers. And then it's just revising on the work that you've done. Like I say, go do the flashcards. I do have 1 or 2 Kahoots as well. So I'm sure you can go to that platform and go search for that as well. Catherine, the videos helped me with the prac. I couldn't do H lookup or V lookup, and when the exam came, I knocked the V lookup. Yes. There we go. There we go. Oh, that's awesome. Now, guys, you're making my evening now. Really. I love this because this means that all the effort I'm putting in, all the work I'm doing is helping you. It's helping you get to where you need to be to ace the subject. There's no reason not to ace the subject. Yeah. Okay, so I've answered that. So I push for 5 papers. Okay, Catherine, you're going to feel overwhelmed if you can do 5 papers. 5 papers is a bit much. Honestly, I would not go beyond 3 papers. I really wouldn't. You've got another one this way. One, you helped me so much with concatenate. Concatenate. Yes, we nailed that one. We nailed that one. Yeah, Catherine, maybe I honestly, I would strongly suggest just ease up because you might actually be doing too much. And this is why you're feeling so overwhelmed. So stick to 3 papers, just do revision, and you'll be okay. Got one here. Provide an appropriate example to illustrate how smartphones used by security guards represent. Okay. Represent convergence. Okay. Well, what's the security guard doing with the phone? So first of all, they're making phone calls. Secondly, they might need to scan something, right? So they scan your license disc or so on. So now you're using the camera. Then maybe they need to record audio. So that's a different technology again. So 1, 2, 3, and there you go. You've already got 3 different technologies in one. Okay. Tips for access. Okay, so you can go check out the videos there. I would say just make sure you know the basics of how to work around the table. You know, the basic things like your validation rule, changing your data type, moving your fields around, creating the queries, your calculated query, it will be sorting, you know, all those sort of things. I mean, those are the basics. Just practice those basics. Grouping, sorting when it comes to reports, your forms, adjusting the header, moving those fields around. Those are typical things that do come up. Typical things that come up. Okay, so your DVI port is also for video. So your video, your HDMI is for video, your VGA is for video, your DVI also for video. Okay, so e-communication, it's just any communication that's done through using the internet, like email, instant messaging, you know, anything like that. And then your telecommunication, that is more just your phones. Okay, in the prac, I use the text before function, but I don't think it's in the SACAI. Okay, so yeah, look, I want to say this. If you use a function, this is for pracs now. If you use a function, no problem. Thanks for saving me. No problem. I am not pronouncing that username. You, no ways. Okay. Let me just compose myself. Yeah, no man. Why would you ever use a name like that? All right. No problem. Anyway. Okay, so the BIOS we did talk about. That's your basic input-output system. So your BIOS is firmware, and this firmware is what actually activates your hardware in your PC when you switch the PC on. And there's lots of settings that go with that. It can control how the hardware functions, what's enabled, what's disabled, all of these things. Okay, folks. Yeah, anything else before we wrap up for the evening? Yeah, Catherine, you've got no idea what was on that screen. Shoo. Okay, so remember hardware, any physical components that I can touch and see. Okay, now a printer is also hardware, right? Printer is also hardware. So just remember that the software, these are programs. That's like at its basic. Hardware, physical things I can touch and feel. Software are my programs. In other words, my apps. So while I cannot touch WhatsApp, it works within my device. It's a program that performs that specific function. Look, as long as that exam number's on your folder, it should be okay. No, because when we marked last year, we will open the folder, it'll have the exam number, and then we know everything that's inside that folder is part of that person's one. Sure. Then, Catherine, you need to take some time out. Like, even if it's an hour, even if it's a half an hour, because you are going to burn out. And we can't burn out so soon. We've just started finals. I never finished paper one. Okay. So, Dhruv, my strat for the prac papers are simple. Start with file management, shoot over to HTML, go to Word, then Excel, and Access. Tick off the things that you do as you do it. So go to file management, work through it, tick, 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 tick. Then HTML, you do that. What's going to happen is you're going to work very quickly through these smaller ones, right? You're going to build up time. Then, once you've worked through the entire paper, you go back. You go back. Now you have time to work on the things that usually sort of stalls you a little bit. But now you've got more time and you can spend a bit more time on that. Now you can go and see, okay, wait, I didn't do this one in Word and I didn't do that one in Excel. And that's how you then systematically work through that. Remember, it's a prac. You can start with any question. Any question. So you don't have to do it in order, Dhruv. You don't have to do it in order. Do it wherever you are strongest. And usually most people are strong with file management, HTML, and Word. So work on those three, get the marks, and then work through the others. That would be my simple tip. Okay, folks. Yeah, I'm going to wrap that up and knock that Excel first and Word. Okay, so you went with Excel first and then Word. No problem. Okay, I'm a new subscriber and I've been watching your videos and practicing a lot. I wanted to say thank you. I wanted to ask, how do you change the image size in database? So to change, Catherine, no problem at all. No problem at all. So when it comes to changing the picture size in database, you're just going to click on the picture itself. It will have the dots around it and you can just resize it. Like that's it. Have a look at the Access videos that I've done. It will show you there. It will show you there. So, Dhruv, that's what I've seen this week. And what I've seen in the past are, yes, finals are usually a little bit easier than prelims and June. I had learners come out of the finals that said, listen, June was much harder than the finals. So, yeah, that's what I'm seeing. So I'm kind of stressed on how to log in. Like type your exam number. So whoever's invigilating there should take you through that process. And they will help you just to rename, well, they must help you to rename your folder to your exam number. And then usually they just have a section on the document. So you just click in there and type it in. So don't stress too much about that. What I'd stress about is the formulas and the other work I've got to do, but not that so much. Excel, concatenate, VLOOKUP, SUMIF, COUNTIF. Those are the big things. I'm online impact school and my classmates is a big fan. Well, send my regards to all the classmates. Tell them Mr. H sends his regards. Wish you guys all of the best for the exam. Okay, now if the picture has to be a specific length and width, you'll have to go to the properties to do that. No problem, Catherine. Good luck. Have a good night's rest. Okay. Okay, Rambo, what about mail merge? Do I delete the app after extracting? Which app? Remember, mail merge is a simple process. You follow the steps, you'll never get it wrong. You've got to start mail merge. From there, you've got to select the recipients, then insert the merge fields, finish it, done. Like, you just follow those steps. And again, guys, I've got all the videos on the channel. Go and check it out. Go and have a look at the playlists. You can literally go to the channel and go type in mail merge and you'll get the video there. Oh, no, you don't have to delete anything, Dhruv. You can just extract and then copy that file over to your PC. It's fine. You can even just download that whole folder. All right, folks, that is going to be it for me this evening. Thank you very, very much for being here and for spreading the word. How often does date formats come in the paper? It does come in. It comes in quite often. Oh, yes, please. Yes. We're going to end on that note. Rambo is reminding us, remember to save both documents for mail merge. Yes. Remember, when you finish a mail merge, it creates a separate document. You need to save that, and then you'll now have two documents, your original and your completed document. All right. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and good luck to those who are writing. There's still a lot of content coming out, so make sure you are subscribed, make sure you've liked, make sure you've shared, make sure those notifications are on. So when those videos come out, because it's going to come out thick and fast, people, I can't guarantee what times, but when it comes out, you've got those notifications there and you can benefit from that. Thank you very much, Rambo. Thank you. I do appreciate the kind words. Thank you for your hard work. Much, much, much appreciated. All the best, folks. Good night. Okay.